So we've arrived on this place. Why is there a ladder? Oh my god. Well, that was worth getting up there for, I guess. Oh, hey, somewhere to rest. It's good music, this. I approve. I have found my way back to the lift. The thing I want to do actually is have a go at the jumping puzzle I found in the other room. Which, if memory serves, was over here. That's a giant knife. What the hell? Or maybe it's supposed to be for like gears or something. That'd be cool. That didn't work. God damn. Where does this go? There's something behind. Aha! That sounds like it's mech stuff. I need to avoid saying that sounds like it's mech gear in a game where the mechs are actually called gears, so the correct term would be gear. God damn! You can tell the people who built this game were not platform game designers. Lunar Rod, that might be a weapon for Ellie. It is, and it has a chance to put enemies to sleep. That's sweet. It's a chest. Huh. Serpent Whip. That's Bart stuff, I think. There are kitties on the roof. As well as a chest doing the rounds on a platform. Somewhere over here. That also, actually, this thing that I'm walking across looks like a gear-sized weapon as well. What? Oh, why? Square games. Why do you have card games in? Hey, Sam.
Hi. I've just like come up across an ad now, so you've done some sort of playing cards thing?
I've found the card game, because this is a Square game in the 90s.
Oh boy!
But it's terrible, and I really don't want to play it at all. Because it's not a collectible card game at all, it's like horrible...
A card game?
Horrible, super complicated Snap, basically. and the controls are really
play
complicated.
Snap?
Sorry?
Couldn't they just have you play Snap?
It'd be about as interesting.
Now, playing real Snap can be fun. Just don't hit too hard, because that tends to happen when I play Snap.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, last time I played Snap, I think someone ended up with a trapped nerve in their finger.
Ooh, yeah, don't do that.
Seeing there's now a second voice channel for streams.
That's been there since yesterday.
Is it?
You've been in it twice already.
Been in it? I suppose it's because I'm just used to just like, oh, click there. I just hadn't had a proper look at it because I just assumed things.
I like how the tutorial for this card game has you lose.
Yeah. Trails of Cold Steel has a random card game actually.
Fucking JRPGs, man.
But I don't know, that game kind of feels like it's trying to go for something of an era. A little.
As much as Bravely Default?
Not so much, but like it's. I suppose it's like Trails of Cold Steel. It doesn't it's trying to go for something. It's kind of like. It kind of feels like we like this thing in this other RPG, so we're putting it here. And I'm not saying that's not the entire identity of the game, but there's a lot of that to it.
Ah, shit. Jumping puzzles are bad, don't put them in JRPGs.
I mean, the only jumping puzzles I think I'm okay with in RPGs are usually in Mario RPGs.
Oh, come on. I almost had it that time. I mean, I like the jumping puzzles in Guild Wars, but they're designed with quite a lot more thought. Sorry, Guild Wars 2.
Yeah. I mean, I always liked a few of the Mario and Luigi games, not all of them, because some of them, Mario and Luigi 4, yeah, the fourth one just never stops tutorializing you.
I do want to play some of those at some point, because they kind of look really cool.
The original one will be easy to play, because it's just on the Game Boy Advance. So just be easy to emulate, because I could do that.
Yeah.
Like years ago, back in like 2004. But no, I think like a lot of people seem to disagree with me, but I think the Mario and Luigi games haven't gotten better than the first one. There's a chest on a thing over here that I can't reach. It's making me quite sad. That's me in a lot of RPGs, I guess. There's a chest over there and I can't reach it. Something I like with this area though is that like parts of it are clearly like gear scaled weapons. Like this is a machine gun. Yeah. And there's a knife over there. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
sure I should be able to jump around this corner. I think I've had enough of this nonsense.
I'm playing Stellar Glow now, and I've just got to the shops, and the main armory shop is called Bianca's Armory, and the woman named Bianca who works there is a part-timer, and says that the owner's been gone out travelling long enough that she said she'd change it while she was at it.
That's pretty good. Right, I have arrived at the bridge, and I think this is the guy I need to talk to. The captain is a dog. No, he's a walrus. That's a walrus.
You sure it's a walrus, not a sea lion?
It's got tusks. Tusks is walrus, isn't it?
Yes. Always make sure to Google these things. I mean, I have the capability of Googling it right in front of me, so I may as well use it.
True. It's weird to me that he called me a wino. That's pretty good. His big anime flourish thing is, I am a man of the sea! But presumably in gruff walrus voice, so, I am a man of the sea! I love these dolphin dudes. It's like Kenran Buto-sai all over again. Although, probably this is what Kenran Buto-sai got the idea from. So there's a Tower of Babel in the world as well.
Because of course there would be.
And the Reapers called Wells come from there. My mech is called Well Tall.
Well then. Well, well, well.
Thank you. Captain came in here. Where did he go? There he is.
I'm confused a bit in RPGs where they give you junk items that are there for the purpose of selling.
Really?
Like, purely, yeah, I mean, why couldn't I just get money?
Because it's just as implausible to have monsters dropping loads of money.
Thing, actually, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, have you played FF12?
Yes.
Because enemies don't drop money at all in that. A few of them do.
Oh yeah. Actually, now that I've actually thought before I've said it, I think it makes complete sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of... FF12 reveals how absurd that is because, like, the amount of money that different items sell for makes no sense. And I really like the way FF13 does it, where most enemies don't drop money. There's a little bit of gil reward for the fights, but they mostly don't drop money. And the items they drop, a few of them are like actually currency. They drop credit chips and incentive chips that are clearly what they're paid in, the soldiers. But the majority of enemies drop stuff that you just use to upgrade your items, so your accessories and your weapons. So instead of saving up to buy stuff to
Yeah, you're constantly upgrading the weapons and stuff.
yeah, you skip directly to the upgrades.
Yeah, because I have played through the entire game before, and I remember it mostly just being upgrade based to a point.
Yeah. And the best way to get money for a big chunk of the game is the chocobo hunting mini game thing in Grand Pulse, because you can dig up gold nuggets.
I didn't know that.
I have watched speedruns of this game. I have watched plat percent speedruns of this game, which are a thing.
I'm gonna return to the game at some point because I've got the whole trilogy on PC.
I'm like playing it again. I'm so impressed by it.
Yeah, no, I kind of was like, I got really into it when I first played it, like way too into it.
Did you play it when it first came out?
A year after. I got it because it was just I traded in some stuff at the time because I wanted to buy Bayonetta, and I found that at the same time, and I had enough money, so I thought, yeah, why not?
That's fair. And I got it on release day because I was super hype about it, and I spent the next 2 weeks.
I had never played a Final Fantasy game before it.
I think that's the better way to come to it. Everybody I know who's been a big Final Fantasy fan and has come to it as a big Final Fantasy fan hasn't liked it that much.
Because I was running to Kingdom Hearts. I like that a lot.
I think it's actually quite close to Kingdom Hearts in some ways, now I think about it, in terms of how the environments work. Because they're much more constrained like Kingdom Hearts, rather than like we're used to thinking. Sorry.
I feel like exploring Kingdom Hearts is kind of like, it feels like exploring like Disneyland.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, I know that's the idea, but it feels more theme parky to me than a lot of other games. Though I sometimes feel that some games try not to be and end up being like that in some ways.
Yeah, I mean the similarity I see between the two is that they're both the environments are deliberately very constraining. Like they're quite cramped, particularly the first Kingdom Hearts. I think
I mean, the first one kind of felt like it had a lot more platforming.
Yeah.
And there's a noticeable reduction in that in the second game. Because there's
That's
nothing like...
good to hear, because we're doing that for the podcast next month. And the platforming bits.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like Hollow Bastion's platforming area.
Oh, Hollow Bastion. Oh my god. Fuck that level.
Hollow Bastion's a lot more flat in Kingdom Hearts 2.
That's good to hear.
Though, I think there's some really good moments in Hollow Bastion in Kingdom Hearts 2, actually.
Well, don't spoil them for me.
Oh, I won't. But Kingdom Hearts 2 is up there as like one of my favourites. I don't know, I feel they do some like stuff to make just like sort of some Disney characters you wouldn't think would quite work well, and they make them fit extremely well. Like Pete.
Part of the problem I have with Kingdom Hearts is that I've just not watched enough Disney films.
I haven't either. I've like watched like usually as a small child watched like the first half and then fallen asleep.
I mean, when we did Kingdom Hearts 1 for the podcast, I had to say at the start of the podcast, I haven't watched any of these Disney films at all.
Yeah, no. I've like, for me it's mostly I've watched half of these Disney films, and by half I mean literally half of a film.
Yeah.
But
this captain's pretty good.
Is he?
Yeah. Is something now attacking? Yep, something is now attacking the happy salvage vessel full of drunken sailors and a walrus captain. Yes, this pair of random civilians will be allowed onto the bridge in the event of battle stations because we were under attack. That makes sense. I think it was this door led to the bridge.
This captain is pretty good.
Hmm. Oh, that's so cool. He's talking about the big gun, and then his first mate, who's clearly the sensible one, is like, it's just a useless piece of junk you tacked on in a drunken stupor. You just don't understand the code of the men of the sea.
And this
This
game
guy
has
is
a
excellent.
reputation for being too serious.
Yeah, it's not at all.
I feel that seems to be a lot of JRPGs. It's kind of like, oh, it's just all serious and gloomy, and then you just like play it, and then it's just goofy as all hell.
Yeah, I mean, even FF13, which gets possibly the most flack for being too serious, it's got some ridiculous bits in.
Yeah, and then there's like there's some really ridiculous stuff in Lightning Returns.
Yep.
Have you done much of it, or have you seen much of it?
Lightning
or
Returns. I've completed Lightning Returns a while ago.
Yeah,
now.
but there's the bit in the with the when you put on the stage show and you basically like
You star in it. I really like that bit. I think it works.
that's my favourite part of the game. Just because it's for the character builds I had, that dress was actually really useful.
It's a good. Like they deliberately make it a good outfit. I think, particularly
Yeah.
for that part of the game as well.
Yeah, it's the idea of what you have to do for the stage show, just like okay, I'll go along with this. Yeah.
The stage
I'll-
manager's particularly good. I seem to remember. Is the stage
Yeah.
manager's the
Well, 'cause
really
he's just like
absurd one?
yeah, because he's like really straight faced if I remember.
There's
'Cause
one
he's
of them is
just like,
making ridiculous demands that all fall onto Lightning for some reason. I can't remember whether that's the stage manager or the producer.
I can't remember, but it's the stage manager just kind of completely goes along with it because she's like, you know what? Like, I've not died. I've had no interesting experience. It's been the same thing all the time. You know what? Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do it. And it's just all right.
Yeah, actually, I'm like, the next thing we put up on JRPGs.dead.fyi is going to be a piece by me about Lightning Returns.
I look forward to reading it.
You're probably going to be the only person who does, because it's just spoilers like heck.
Yeah, I never finished it because I just got stuck on the final boss. But I just looked at the ending.
Fair enough. Provided you know the ending, because like it's mostly the ending I want to write about.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to put that in my Final Fantasy Heroes thing from last week, because I wanted more people to read that. Specifically, some people that I know haven't read, haven't played the game yet, but are going to.
I'm curious as to how many people that would be interested to read more in JRPGs were the sort of people that are just like kind of gloss over Final Fantasy XIII's trilogy, I guess.
I don't know, like, I don't really care who reads it. I care a little bit, but mostly, like, I like writing about these games for the sake of writing about them.
Yeah, no, but it's also just nice to have the discourse.
It's not nice to have the discourse. Discourse is bad. I'm salty at the moment because people were shitty to me about FF13 last night on Twitter. I'm like, fuck you guys. Game's good.
It's a good game. I've only played it once, like almost 6 years ago now. No, 5 years ago. No, almost 5 years ago now. But I enjoyed it then, and I'll probably still enjoy it.
Yeah, I think, like, look up the speedrun strats if you're going to play it again. Because there are a few really easy things to include in a casual playthrough that that just make the game so much more dynamic in combat. No, Faye does not ever say, "Hey, that's my line." That's not an in-character piece of dialogue at all. What the fuck, game? I got glumped by a fish gear.
I wonder how much of some of the translation might be down to technical restrictions.
Maybe, but like,
I'm not like excusing anything, but this is more of a curiosity thing than anything.
Leroy has this theory that there might have been two translators, and one of whom was just better than the other. Because some of it's alright. But these are the able, and the Emperor of somewhere was Cain. Emperor Cain. And I don't think he was the Emperor of these people. I think he was the Emperor to whom Ramses was reporting, maybe. And I don't think Ramses and Ellie are quite on the same side. It's really difficult to keep track.
You're not sure you're gonna have to watch this back over some of it.
I'll just, like, read a plot summary, take some notes.
Just like a whole book full of like just like what's really going on with Xenogears.
I've got somewhere bookmarked an article that is basically that, and it's really long. I'll read that before we cast. Because it goes into a lot of the kind of Wagnerian and Nietzschean symbolism as well. Most of which I'm sure is crap, but
They tried.
well, Tetsuya Takahashi.
Yeah, I don't know. I think his thing now is more like he seems to have a more like concern on the design of games more than the like story he's trying to tell.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, if you'd got the opportunity to do Xenosaga, you'd be pretty tired of writing story-driven games, because that's a long story.
and it was supposed to be longer.
I know. And you can kind of tell where bits were cut as well. You can certainly tell where some of the resources were missing from Game 2, for example.
It's like he kind of like has this kind of over ambition at this point in his career, really,
Yeah,
because it's meant to be multiple games at some point.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of... I think the only designer who's more ridiculously ambitious is Yu Suzuki. Because Shenmue, like, Xenosaga was going to be 6 games, Shenmue was going to be 7.
Though I think like a few of those are like put together in like Shenmue 2 is like a compilation of a few of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Like like what Shenmue 2 was supposed to be multiple games. That's why the first like Shenmue 1 feels like a first act. Like you see through the story of that and it feels like that is the opening act to another story.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I haven't played either Shenmue game. I've seen a speedrun of Shenmue 2.
I've got the Shenmue 2 on the Xbox, and it comes with a DVD that just goes through the whole story of the first Shenmue.
Ah, that's quite
Like
good.
plays out fights and gameplay and everything. And yeah, the whole story basically feels like it's just the opening tutorial of another game. That game's like 20 something hours, so.
Booster. The speedrun's pretty cool, actually, in terms of some of the things that they have to do.
I've seen that actually, yeah. I think it might be in a Shenmue 2 speedrun actually, which was still
Shenmue 2.
quite impressive. But I started playing Shenmue 2, and then I realised that to play it, I'd have to play Shenmue 2. Because that game is not aged quite well.
Good grief, this fucker does a lot of damage.
I don't know, the whole thing with... I'm really curious as what to like Shenmue 3 would be, whether it is actually trying to modernize anything or just trying to be a Dreamcast game.
That's a heck of a question.
Because I think the people that want Shenmue 3 want a Dreamcast game.
Possibly.
I mean, I think the sort of person that would fund that sort of thing would be the same kind of person who would go, you know what, games used to be better back in the day.
There is that distinct feeling. I mean, somebody paid for the the backer reward that was the £40,000 coat or whatever it was.
That game has its like rabid fans.
Doesn't it just?
I mean, that's kind of what the most like prominent Kickstarters seem to have been. Like, here's this thing like this old thing by this person who made this other old thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll cop to being hyped for Yooka-Laylee because I love Banjo-Kazooie and the old Rare platformers.
I did back that one actually.
I haven't because I didn't have the money, but I'm gonna buy it. I'm definitely gonna play it when it comes out on something.
I think I'd backed Bloodstained at one point because, like, I think it was just having just played one of the Castlevania games. Like, I think it was Aria of Sorrow, and I was just like really in love with it. So I thought I kind of fancy another game like this. So yeah, I did back that. Also backed Cosmic Star Heroine ages ago. It's been a few years, I think.
I'm quite lucky that most of these games, like most of the games that I have massive nostalgia for, are Nintendo banner franchises, so I don't have to kickstart them because Nintendo is still making them.
Yeah, I don't think I've necessarily backed a lot of things out of nostalgia. It's mostly been, that looks interesting, I'd like to play that. Because I don't know, I'm probably still young enough that's not too much of a factor. I don't know.
Well, it's catching up to us because, like, there's...
Yeah.
We now got FF7 remake is coming.
I mean, I was probably like... When did FF7 come out? 97?
97. So you'd have been, what, 7?
4.
Jesus Christ. I was 10.
Yep.
And I didn't play it when it came out, but, like, I was playing Mario 64 and then Ocarina of Time around then.
I didn't play Final Fantasy 7 until about 2013.
I played it a bit when I was in college. A friend of mine lent me the PC version with the terrible MIDI.
As I understand, it's supposed to sound a bit better. It's like it's not supposed to be for general MIDI. It's supposed to be for certain sound cards.
Yeah. Wait a second. They kidnapped Ellie. That's not okay.
though for some reason the initial Steam version has OGG files of those terrible MIDIs. Like it's as if they've gone and like taken the terrible MIDIs and made them the default music, like take as files.
Well, I mean, the basic Windows MIDI box is a much better set of sounds than it used to be.
I kind of feel like I disagree in some way. Like I suppose it's because it's been. I feel that some of the older general MIDI stuff Windows had kind of felt like it had a bit more personality to it.
Yes, but its personality was like screeching.
It didn't sound like the actual instruments it was supposed to, but like I think that was kind of more interesting than sounding like the instruments, but not quite in this sort of awful uncanny valley kind of thing.
I thought that, like, the current Windows is soundbox is just bland, really. But
Yeah.
like the late '90s one was actively painful at times. Particularly, like there are some very high melodies in the FF7 soundtrack. They didn't sound
Oh
good.
god, yeah. No, I think like just some of like I remember hearing about like people being at like I can't remember was where they showed off the some of the FF7 stuff on like a big soundstage kind of thing for one of those events.
Oh god!
And they had like the opening theme song, which like has a really high pitched thing at the start, and apparently it does not work on loud systems. No, not the just overture, but like the opening with like the one before the bombing mission.
Ah, right, yeah.
I feel like the way I like describing Final Fantasy VII soundtrack is an accordion orchestra. It kind of sounds like that to me.
Yeah, a little bit in the original. The Steam version now has, like, I played it last summer. It's got great sound. I like the way it sounds.
I think it's gone back to the original sound.
I think it's just the PlayStation sound files, isn't it?
Yeah, the PlayStation sound files. Well, no, it would be OGG files of that.
Yeah, the original recordings.
Because it's not the actual. Because the way the PlayStation version was, it used the sound chip as a sampler and would just play the music through that. Like they basically load up samples onto the CD, and the PlayStation basically read those and the programmed music out. Basically, there's a sequencer in the PlayStation, kind of.
That's cool.
The Super Nintendo kind of works the same way. That's why you hear because there's like I think there's some standard bank sounds in the Super Nintendo, which is why you hear the same slap bass in like 50 Super Nintendo games.
Love it.
But like, yeah, they kind of like got more convincing sound fonts for stuff in like 8 and 9.
Yeah.
I feel, but it's like 7's music kind of feels a little bit transitional. Like,
and everything about 7 is transitional.
Yeah, I know that, but it's not like the first Saga Frontier feels like the sound font is like a Super Nintendo sound font.
Yeah.
And I think with limited hardware they had, there's some really good like Japanese role-playing game soundtracks on the PlayStation.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like you can't recreate the same sounds on the PC version that you get from those versions of the game.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah.
No, it's not. But it's like there's a reverb in most of like Square's PS1 games that like you can pause the game and hear the reverb usually.
It's cool.
But that's not usually in the PC version, though. Like you probably like go into the Windows sound thing and turn on a reverb, because then that's the thing you can do. And then that's a bit of a hacky way of doing it. But then again, that's just me being fussy. Which is the thing, it took them quite a long time to move to actual orchestra in some of the Square games, I think.
Well, it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Particularly like pro quality sound, movie quality sound is huge. Yeah. I remember doing some student film stuff about 2005-06, and even then, like the video we were editing was the file size was about 75% sound, because I had to strip the sound out of everything in order to edit it.
Oh wow. That's the thing. I think it's I think 13 might be the first one to fully use an orchestra.
It was, yeah. But then, like, Skyward Sword was the first Zelda to have a full orchestrated theme. So,
But I think, but Twilight Princess kind of, when it came out, the sound kind of felt a bit dated. But it's still, like, the compositions in it were quite good.
Yeah.
I don't remember, like, that's the thing from Skyward Sword. I've played through the whole thing and didn't quite remember, like, that much that jumped out apart from the main themes.
Wait, what?
And I did quite like. There's a weird kind of like sound to 13's music, which is kind of like, I don't know what the right word is. I know, it's very soundscapey.
Particularly in 13 too.
13 2 kind of, that one has quite there's a bit more variety to it.
Well, there's Crazy Chocobo.
It's Crazy Chocobo, there's like boss themes and like hip hop and like metal style. Oh, there's like the Caius theme, which is all this really sad orchestra stuff.
I've missed something. Hang on, I've missed something here because Faye is really angry with Bart about something he's done that I don't understand.
Am I talking too much?
I just blinked and missed a text box or something that explained it, or I'm completely missing a link back to something I've forgotten because there are too many details in this game.
Have I gotta have a notebook for just more than just the death blows?
Possibly.
Maybe I should be paying attention here and helping you out.
Maybe. I'm sure it'd help. There'd be less embarrassing moments of the fuck's going on.
God, I've just like got further into Stellar Glow, and this game is basically like Final Fantasy Tactics. It's got the same kind of world map.
That's good.
Actually, no. I don't know if it has random encounters or not.
Does Final Fantasy Tactics have random encounters?
Yeah, it does.
Huh.
You wouldn't think it would in that kind of game, but it does.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an earlier example of the genre, so I suppose it's kind of like,
yeah,
has some holdover from other kinds of design.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to that one. We're doing that after Kingdom Hearts, I think, after KH2.
Because I didn't know what I was doing when I started, and that game just gives me a headache if I play it too much.
We'll see how it goes.
It depends how you are with strategy games, I suppose.
I quite like strategy RPGs.
Whereas, like, before Final Fantasy Tactics, all I'd really done was the last Fire Emblem, the first one on the 3DS, which I got quite into, and I thought that was quite fun. But I found Final Fantasy Tactics a lot more difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Like I do it, I do a single battle and then just put it down.
It's weird to me that Purple Hair Girl, who I know is not even working for this villain, but for a super villain relative to this villain, is being so nice to Ellie. That's suspect. Basically, the only thing I know about Purple Hair Girl here is that she is working for an important villain as a spy in a contrived relationship with a subordinate villain that we've already encountered a couple of times. And now she's being nice to, like, the main female character. It's all going to be a scientific experiment of some sort. And now she's hitting on her. Probably not.
God, even the music's trying to riff on Hitoshi Sakimoto. Don't think this game probably has permadeath though.
That's probably for the best. So they're returning Ellie to me as a trap. Some sort of way of disabling the ability of the Yggdrasil to dive, I guess. Going. Gear hanger first, because apparently I can upgrade all my shit. A nice touch is that when you buy new stuff for your gear, it makes clear that you finish my sentence for me. You sell the old part to recoup some of the cost.
That's useful. I suppose it's quite useful when it's like only like gear specific to certain roles.
Yeah.
And mechs.
Okay, that should keep my gears going. And now I need to find my way onto land. Let's not talk to that guy, he's weird. And apparently will play the card game with me, which I don't want to do.
You want to talk to Big Joe?
I don't want to talk to Big Joe. Nobody wants to talk to Big Joe. Bart started joining in with the captain's bullshit. I like this.
Maybe is this why? Oh, when you move on to Final Fantasy Tactics, by the way, don't try to attack anyone from the front.
Duly noted.
There's different accuracy stats depending on where you hit them from.
They're probably sensible. Now, has Ellie been hypnotised? Or have they just rigged her mech with a bomb? can't involve people who have attachments, says Prince trying to reclaim his lost throne. Engine room. Oh, my glob. That's neat. This gantry bobs. That's a detail that is very much... Here's what the PlayStation can do with the RPG environment design concept that earlier consoles couldn't have.
Yeah, there's kind of like... It seems like a through line of a lot of Square RPGs to try and push tech.
I think that, like, certainly from FF7 onwards, it was the revolutionary kind of... like, they were the ones burdened with revolution.
Pretty much.
Down here somewhere.
And it's kind of like each one they kind of had to prove themselves a bit more, like, oh, here's what we can do now.
Oh god, Ellie's hypnotised and she's going to sabotage the ship. Oh boy. We arrived in the nick of time, maybe. That was a scream? Blimey. What's going on? Really, Bart? This mole's a mole. Fuck off with this translation! So, Bart's suspicions of Ellie seem to have been confirmed. Because she was being hypnotised. I can run over Ellie's head. That's a slight design flaw.
Like in Watch Dogs, where you can vault over your niece's grave.
That game.
Well, it's just there's a general cover and jump over cover animation,
And
you
it
can just do
works on
over
the
your niece's
grave. Oh my god.
Yep.
And now Bart's gotten the blame for it as well. That's good. I can literally run right over Ellie. Whee! I probably shouldn't do that. How will you be able to tell this from there, Doc? Where's the medical room? Oh yeah. Right, so that should be the medical, and this will be where Margie is. Yep. And there's Jackson. Hey, Jackson.
Oh, I thought he jumped into the, the thing.
Nope.
Confused.
You'd have heard the dink sound.
Yeah, but I thought, did I hear the bleep sound?
Nope.
I guess I really didn't hear the bleep sound.
No, you just heard my poorly thought through troll.
I don't know, it seemed to work, so...
In this instance, maybe. You can weigh characters? What the hell?
Next year, start like learning about their blood types, right?
The fuck, Doctor? You bastard! You don't get to tell people... No, this is garbage. Let the girl recover. Is that a good party? It'll do. What the heck is Dominia up to?
Easy answer, no good. Is it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, her name is Dominia, for crying out loud.
Are there easy answers in this game?
Not useful ones. Good grief. Oh my god, stop missing. And done.
I've seen this quite a few times. Like it's in Stellar Glow. This is in Trails of Cold Steel as well. Is where you get given free time to then spend time with your companions.
Where they actually just tell you, go do this.
Or it's like there's a system in place to just sort of like get like there's a time like here is 3 slots of free time. Use them wisely and spend them to spend time. Like a slot of free time is spending time with someone essentially.
Yeah. Type Zero is like that.
I think.
You
I
could,
honest.
in the downtime
yeah,
between missions, it's which is really annoying because you can't actually see all the cutscenes in a single playthrough.
I feel like that's possibly a reaction to Persona.
Yeah, probably. I don't know Persona well, but it sounds right.
The entire like progression of Persona is like there is a morning, an afternoon,
Yeah.
and an evening. And
Yeah, I mean, I've read about it, but like I haven't.
Yeah, most of the time there'll be a school day, and then there'll be the afternoon to maybe do a social link, like socialize with someone, and then, and in the evening you can then either do another social link or go into the dungeon.
Yeah.
And that's how Persona 3 works. Persona 4 puts the dungeon in the afternoon. But also, 4 kind of just makes that process a bit more friendly.
I think I'm gonna struggle here.
Oh dear.
This isn't good.
It's just the whole idea of like strengthening bonds with your party in order to like make them more powerful. I mean, I see the appeal of the system a bit, but it can come across as making something that's a bit more human, a bit more mechanical.
Yeah. Jesus, this damage! Who's this? Bart's mech is going to get taken out again pretty soon.
Maybe I think the social stuff should like, I know it's a weird thing, but maybe take from just like Animal Crossing, sort of. Because like, it's just like the people in those games kind of just like, there's no systems like that are defined to the player. But just over time, like characters you talk to more often just open up and just tell you more things.
Yeah. There goes Bart.
I ended up having tacos for dinner and they weren't great.
You said this earlier.
But, no, but it's all spice. It's just spice. I think I said about the nachos earlier.
Oh, yes, sorry.
I ended up having tacos after that, but it was like couldn't taste anything.
I do not understand at all how I'm supposed to win this fight. I'm going to run out of fuel. I'm unable to deal damage because he's in a counter stance that he'll counter with just destroying me.
See, this is a tough one because it's not like you can as easily grind up the mech stats.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the things I kind of have generally heard about this game is that the mech battles can be a bit tough. Because you've got two guys in this fight.
Well, you mean two enemies?
Two enemies. Two targets.
Well, I haven't because she's not a target. I can't hurt her. She's just got completely free license to heal him. I can't stop her healing him. And she heals for...
really bizarre.
I can't do anything. And I'm going to lose. Because I also can't do anything like enough damage to outdo the healing.
Do you know how this fight is like supposed to be built, or are you just like going in blind?
I'm looking at a guide and what it's saying makes no sense because I can't soak this damage.
The guy through the whole game.
It doesn't make any sense even for where it's like I've done the bit of upgrading that it says I'm supposed to do.
Oh dear. On that note, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave you for now.
Yeah, I think I might call it there because I've basically now done my 5 hours for the day.
That's fair. Anyway, catch you later.
Take care.
You too. Bye.